Good morning, Vande Matram. Welcome all of you. So this morning we are going to discuss a significant topic that is on freedom. Man is born free. That is the great proverb we sometimes use. Man is born free, but anywhere, everywhere, he is bound by chains. That is the paradox of his true life. Many times we try to forget, even if we remember, we feel we are free, but naturally and obviously we are not at all free. We are in many ways bounded by chains of circumstances, chains of environment, chains of really our inner being, our being, chains of the relations, chains of the environment surrounding. Anyway, we are almost bounded that we don't know, even we don't understand or we don't believe, but thing is that real truth is like this. So this morning we are going to discuss something in brief about the freedom. Sri Aurobindo quotes, true freedom was abhorred and hunted down. If we understand the term freedom, we feel our country got freedom in 1947, 15th of August. So naturally you feel any times, anywhere you see there is only chains, bondage, narrowness. So far our freedom is concerned, it is only in superficial freedom. Many ways we are under the bonds of some situation. So our true freedom is hunted, abhorred and hunted down. Against here in the quotes beautifully. Freedom, he asks, but needs to live in bonds. That is the paradox of life. Really, every time, each moment, under all circumstances, we are in the process of this process of the habitual day to life process and progress. We feel we need freedom, but actually, we bind ourselves knowingly or unknowingly to the of course, bondage. So now we are going to discuss something on freedom from mother, then we'll try to quote Sri Aurobindo later on. So this is a beautiful topic, it is a significant topic, one must understand and we must try to know what really freedom is means, how we can be freed from the bondage of death, bondage of ignorance, and the bondage of tears, bondage of agony, bondage of suffering. That is what the thing. But a true freedom, we don't know. We are living in an outward atmosphere, living superficially, yet to define really the definition of freedom. Anyway, now it is time to quote Sri Aurobindo and Mother. So we'll start from the Mother about the true freedom, how it works and how it is, and with the true freedom, what really can be achieved. So Mother quotes, if you have a strong and conscious will, your will is concentrated around the psychic, then you will have a taste of liberty. Otherwise, you are the slave of all outside influences. Just imagine only one, everything is almost known to you, but one thing that may be little bit puzzling and a little bit maybe unknowable and of course new to you, that is your psychic. This is the term in the entire sentence you can find. It is a significant term, that is psychic. So your mother quotes here, if you have a strong and conscious will, number one, if you have a strong and conscious will, and second, and your will is concentrated around the psychic, your will, how it will be, this is a strong and conscious will, that strong and concentrated conscious will, if this strong and concentrated will is concentrated around the psychic, that psychic is a significant term, of course you know, but for the most who are staying in the ordinary life or in the religious background, psychic being is a new term, maybe a new term or past had term for them. But the psychic, then you will have the taste of liberty, unless otherwise this concentrated, conscious and strong will is there. And that strong and conscious will is centered around the psychic, then you will never have the taste of liberty. Otherwise, you are the slave of the outside influences, unless otherwise this strong and conscious will is concentrated in around the psychic, then true liberty is next to impossible, and you will be the slave of the outward influences. Again, Mother quotes, freedom does not come from the outer circumstances. We are free from the English rule. That is not the case. Now itself, Taliban, they were freed from the Taliban. Now itself, they feel they are almost under the, or not almost, it is under the Taliban then. So their freedom was there. Now it is abhorred and hunted down. Freedom does not come from the outer circumstances, but from the inner liberation. Not only liberation, but the quotes from the inner liberation. Find your soul. Again, initially you heard the term psychic. Now itself it is concentering around the influence. If the focus is on the soul, find your soul, unite with it. Number one, find your soul. Number two, unite with it. Then let it govern your life. That is the next step, and you will be free. That is the true circumstance and the true idea, and that is the only thing that can be done for the liberation. Very interestingly, if you find your soul, that is the initial condition. The second condition, unite with the soul. Then let it govern your life. Then only, if these three conditions are satisfied, then you will be free. Again, Mother quotes, freedom is not to do only what the Supreme makes you do. Freedom is to do only what the Supreme Consciousness makes you do. So, now itself we are not aware or accustomed with the term freedom. This freedom, we what you have to, another term is used, that is Supreme Consciousness. Freedom is to do only what the Supreme Consciousness makes you do. Supreme Consciousness, what it makes to do, that is what the freedom. Freedom is to do what the Supreme Consciousness makes you do. That is the freedom. Anyway, next step, in every other cases, one is slave, not the master of oneself. In every other cases, one is a slave, whether the will of the others or of the or of the convention or of some moral laws or the vital impulses or the mental fancies and above all of the desires of the ego. Mother course, already we have given some hints under whom we are under the position of our slavery. Where we are slave, who has made us slave, to whom our slavery belongs to. That is the words your mother quotes here. In every cases, one is a slave. In every case, unless otherwise, he is not doing what Supreme Consciousness wants him to do. If it is not there, then bearing the Supreme Consciousness following, bearing the freedom, bearing following the Supreme Consciousness, then everywhere, under all circumstances, one is a slave. Again, what are the conditions to whom the slavery is, and this slavery, we are slave to what, to whom, really will know. Mother quotes, whether the will of the others, number one. Number two, of all conventions. Number three, mental laws. Number four, vital impulses. Number five, mental fancies. Number six, above all, the desires of the ego. If we are not under the supreme consciousness level or under the influence and the guidance of the supreme consciousness, we are anyway in most of the cases and all the cases we are slave to these things what is been described. Again, another quotes, liberation, the disappearance. Liberation, what liberation means? Disappearance of the ego. As long as the ego is there, liberation is only a daydream. Now, we'll try to quote little bit. We'll try to quote little bit on the freedom, how Sri Aurobindo has visualized, and how Sri Aurobindo comments upon freedom. Free action is the action of the divine in us. It is very much still one step forward, still interesting. Free action is the action of the divine in us. It is His action. It is from the divine. The free action is the action of the divine in us and through us, and other action, and no other action is free. Only the action of the divine in us and through us, that is only free. All others action are not at all free. Again, Mother course, here in the course, it is only if you belong entirely to the divine, no resistance, entirely you are not actually little bit confused, and you if you are if there is no resistance, no demand, no belongingness, nothing. It is only if you belong entirely to the divine, then you can become free. Only when someone is belonging to the mother, then only he will be free. Again, next steps, Mother Kusia in the course, only in God and by the supremacy of the Spirit. Two things, Mother quotes. Only in God and by the supremacy of the Spirit can we enjoy the perfect freedom. Perfect freedom we can enjoy only in God and by the supremacy of the Spirit. Again, freedom is the law of being in an illimitable unity. That not only the unity what we claim the unity, yoga we know, union with the divine and all. Still in the course, that is illimitable unity. Freedom is the law of being in its illimitable unity, secret master of all nature. That is where the true freedom, and with the divine guidance, with the divine enclosure, with the divine will, everything, all that sort of freedom comes, and the bearing with of which you are the slave of many things. Freedom comes by the unity without limit. That's what comes by unity without limit. There must not be any limitation. For that, our real being. For that is your real being. Unity without without limits. Freedom comes by that. For that is our real being. Really so free, so strong, so liberated, so vast. Freedom is necessary to life as a law and a regime. Many times we feel mental laws and all, with mental phenomenon and all. Freedom is necessary to life as law and regime. Then again, human society progresses really and vitally. Human society progresses really and vitally in proportion as the law becomes the child of freedom. These mental laws, these laws which are binding to us in the regular phenomenon, it has been done by the government or something, copying the laws and the regulations from the other countries, that can't liberate you, that can't bring true freedom for you. Freedom, whose society progresses really and vitally in proportion to the law, becomes the child of freedom. When these by laws are not binding upon you, they are not actually masters. When they become the child of freedom, then only human society progresses. Again, freedom is the final law and the last consummation. Just imagine, freedom is the final law and the last consummation. All freedom must have a truth in it. There must be just in not as per our convention and all freedom must have a truth in it and in order. Truth in it and in an order, either a rational or an instinctive or intuitive order. There must be, all freedom must have a truth in it, inner value based on the truth, and an order must be there. Then again, another question in the course, freedom and unity. You can't realize freedom and unity unless you realize the God. Initial, the realization of the God is the precondition. Then only we can have we can have the power to realize freedom and unity. You can't possess freedom and unity unless you possess God. So, number one, realize freedom and unity. Possess the God, then you can possess the freedom of the unity. Then possess at once your highest self and self of all creatures. That is what the basic reason. But the problem is that we don't know what really liberation is and how it really works. Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully. It is to be made oneself with God above and God in man and God in the world. Three things in all the ways we have to get united. To be free, to be made oneself with God above, God in man, God in the world is the sense of liberation and the sense of perfection. Two things, sense of liberation and sense of perfection. What? To be oneself with God above, God in man, and God in the world. Another beautiful example we can see on liberty. The free use of our liberty includes also the liberation of others and mankind. It is interrelated. We have to do it. And again, of course, we find something very interesting manner. that truly, of course, is it in the part of the man, is it really they are interested to get these things? So while considering the quotations from paradox, we know the whole world yearns after freedom, yet each creature is in love with it, is in love with its own sense. Asks freedom, but needs to live in bonds. Asks happiness, but grief has been the part of need of the person. Wants immortality, but mortality he can't live within the mortal levels. He has time bound his entire self. Just imagine how this imagination will come into practice. Man is in love with the bonds of birth, therefore he is caught in the companion of bonds of the death. Man is in love of the power, therefore he is subject to the weakness. Man is in love with the pleasure, therefore he must undergo the yoke of grief and pain. Man hungers after calm, but he thirsts after the experience of the restless mind and the troubled heart. Man is in love with the limitations of the psychic physical being, yet would also be the freedom of his infinity mind and the immortality. So, it is not only the nectar but also poison that attracts the taste and his curiosity, for who is he is actually getting enslaved, getting out of the track. He who would reach in the crust, ride on the crest of the one wave, must faint under the shock of hundreds. That must be understood. It is time to go into the unification with the universal consciousness, to know the divine, to carry out his will, and must know who he is. For with that only the liberation and the freedom is possible. Thank you, Vande Mataram.